Hi all, let's play one or two games today. I think I did overdose yesterday, so maybe it's not going to be as many games as yesterday, maybe just one or two. So a 2097. So statistically I should have a good chance. I'm thinking of that towel line with Ng3. He's maybe attracted to that after that win against Tony Miles. But let's try and not get overly excited by the position here. Maybe play for bishop f4. I think you play bishop f4, c4. If we remember that game, Tony Miles, c4. And I think black played for c5, and then there was like, was it d takes c? But let's try and get into specifics of the position. Sometimes trying to recall a past game really interferes with actually the finesses of the current position. So like d takes c5 looks, for example, dangerous for me because of knight c5. What would I play? Bishop g6, I suppose. Queen d1, bishop h7. So if he does take queen d5, knight c5, maybe I've got queen e2. But it's back to the finesses of the position here. Like d5 is another finesse because maybe I'm threatening d6, winning the bishop. But d5 takes yeah, knight d5, bishop g6, but then knight takes f4. Knight, yeah. So maybe just taking on g6, and he doesn't want fg. That would be horrible. hg d5. So yeah, I think maybe this, because he hasn't taken on d3. So he's given me the option of doubling the pawns there. So now d6 is a major threat. So forget the past games now. Just trying to play this position. So d6. Is that any good here? Bishop f8. Is it really that good? It's tempting to squash that bishop. And then queen c2. The knight's covering against that sort of business. That's one advantage. Knight g3. So I'm tempted. Can't see anything else particularly hot. So I'll do that. Something like queen. What about queen d2? Just seeing what black's going to do here. Mind you, queen d3 asking for c4 at some point. So queen d2. Mind you, do I want to get my queen somewhere like a4, h4? So like queen a4. There's going to be knight b6. I don't want to spend too much time here. Let's just put the pieces in the centre and hope for the best. I'll put the rook in the centre. If he exchanges off, then that's different. I'm just down a whole minute now. Just thinking about nothing much. I'm just down a whole minute. So okay. Something like knight g5 might be annoying. I don't want to lose my d pawn. But knight g5, it takes me one I can take. I'm holding on to being d pawns still. Okay, so maybe queen d2 did have some logic to it, but I want to be like more than a minute down the clock. So, is there any safe moves I can play here without losing the d pawn? Maybe I can just take on e8 soon. Just knight g5 to e4 if needed. It's already a bit of an artificial move, unless I'm going to play queen d5. Rook e8, queen d5. If knight e8, queen d5. If rook e8, he's off the d pawn. Knight g5, it can't really be easily kicked. Okay. What about h4, h5 here? Trying to just undermine king position. h5, if he takes knight f5, knight to e7 at some point. Right, that changes things. I think I will take on e8 now. There's knight d5 coming up to try and win that pawn. Which could be a shame, so maybe I should try and get h5 in. What is that one to try and win the pawn? Or knight g4, provoke f5. f5 looks like a loosening move, like knight e6, so I think I'm going to play this. hang on, f6 is like winning a piece now. Whoops. If I move that knight, I'm losing e4. That wasn't too clever. Unless there's a tactic here. It is weakening the king a bit. Maybe just h5 if he takes, I just take on g5. He could take on d6, I'll take on g6. Okay, he's avoiding all that. Okay, can I just support the knight for a moment? I'm supporting d6. I want to play... what do I want to play here? Queen c3. I want to get back on the clock instead of being 30 seconds behind. Queen c3, there's going to be... that knight could come to d5. In fact, that knight could come to d5 now, but the knight takes, because g takes queen d5. Right, so the problem with the d pawn, I'm going to keep an eye on the d pawn. Queen c3 actually threatens c5 as well as f6 actually. Queen c3. So say takes, I take with the knight, d6 is still supported by 3 pieces, and I'll still be on c5. So maybe that's looking like a hot idea, just queen c3, just basically forking c5 and f6. If he takes and plays f5, say he's weakening the king. Okay, that's looking better all of a sudden. Alright, let me play queen c3. I think I'm not going to get exterminated if I just play that, because I'm on f6. So I can take on f6 here and pin and attack the rook on f6. So it's check. So I'm attacking the rook. I'm threatening bishop d6, queen f7. That's rather simple. Blimey, that clarified. Yeah, to an attack on f7 now. So knight e4, I take on d8. Knight e8, I take on d8. Bishop g7, I take on d8. Protects the rook, I take on d6. He could protect the rook with queen c7. How would I proceed? Panic. Bishop d6, bishop d6, rook d6, queen d6. No, rook d6. What about just knight e4? There'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 on d6 after knight e4, but then he takes, attacking my queen. But then I've got queen takes d8. I resigned here. I think it's still a complex position. I think queen c7. He's just resigned here. Strange. Blimey. That was strange. So he's been up to 2-2, 5-6. Wow. So let's have a look at that. So this knight g3, he let me take on g6, and maybe that's a mistake because he has the double pawns. Maybe this allowing d6 is a bit double-edged for both sides because the pawn's potentially weak. So I don't really know about this manoeuvre. It's an improvisation, just to protect e4, and maybe he could have tested things here with f6 because his queen's on e4. Unless I just ignore it and just play h5 and sack, it starts to get potentially really unsound. Unless there's knight e6 attacking the rook. Maybe knight e6, that's the way around it. So he takes, I'll take the rook. So that's the problem with f6. So yeah, this queen c3 I think was an important move, hitting the knight in f6, and that's a problem for black now. So the analysis should really be, I think here, queen c7, which supports f7 and d8. So bishop d6 can hold on, bishop d6, or even rook d6, attacking the queen. Rook d6, rook d6. So I don't know, queen c7, maybe I play a move, I don't know what h5 does, takes. There's almost an idea of queen f5 if there wasn't a knight on d6, so like bishop d6, rook d6, but then queen f5, queen, rook d1. I know, this needs analysis, this position. Okay, comments or questions on YouTube. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, KingsCrusher channel, it's free, and you'll be notified of any new videos. Thanks very much.